Hey everybody, I did a hair and makeup question video a while ago and it got really good feedback and I still get so many questions from you guys, so I decided to put together a kind of a part 2 of the overflow of questions that you guys have about hair and makeup, and I'm going to be doing more question and answer videos on different topics as well, but these seem to be the questions that I get the most often, so I'm just going to keep answering them as you give them, and I find it's an easier way for me to kind of answer questions that I get all the time versus answering specifically on each question, because like I said, sometimes I just get too many comments to comment back to everything, but I do try my best, but I find this is the best way to do it. So let's get started. The first question I got was how often I reuse fake eyelashes, and I try to reuse them as long as I can because buying fake eyelashes all the time gets kind of expensive, but at the same time it's kind of unhygienic to keep using them over and over and over again forever. Don't ever share used eyelashes with other people. It's the fastest way to get eye infections. But I would say, depending on the lash, the ones with the solid bands last longer than the ones with the bands that are kind of like individual lashes glued onto them. So I probably get maybe 4 or 5 uses out of my lashes, but I make sure I always take them off before I sleep. I take them off as soon as I get home, and then I stick them back into the package they came on. It's also a good way to make sure that you know left from right, to put them back in the same order. And then before I put them on again, I always peel off the old glue. And the fastest way to tell when they're done is when the old glue won't peel off, or it starts sticking the lashes together, or if they warp or get, you know, kinks in them or whatever. So my favorite vintage hairstyle probably to do on myself would be just kind of like the wavy down style. When I have bangs, I guess it would be the Betty Page style, but when I don't have bangs, it would be considered more of like a Marilyn style. I think it's the most glamorous. It's quick, it's easy, you can add flowers and accessories and bows or whatever you want to it. I also like to do victory rolls for like shoots and stuff. It's kind of an old standby and they're really quick for me to do, so sometimes they're a little bit easier than doing like a full head of curls. There's all kinds of vintage hairstyles that I like. I really also like vintage styles that have veils attached to them. How do you keep lipstick off of your teeth? I wear red lipstick almost every day, and I have been for a good 15 years, so I just kind of, you learn how to eat and drink. When I'm eating something, I really kind of push my lips out like that, so that whatever I'm eating or drinking is touching the inside of my lips and not the outside. Also, when you put it on, I put it as far inside my mouth as I can, and then if you do this, it'll take the inner rim of lipstick off of your mouth so it doesn't get on your teeth. And also, I don't wear gloss very often. I find when I do wear gloss, that's the fastest way to get it on my teeth. So, hope that helps. How do you brush out teased hair? I get this question all the time, especially from some of the shoots, the behind the scenes video shoots that I've done. The easiest way for me to brush out my hair is I use a big paddle brush, and I just start at the bottom and I hold the top of it and I brush the bottoms out, and then I go up farther and farther and farther until it's all brushed out. If you start at the top, it's just going to pull the knot down to the bottom and it really hurts, and I find too, if you really hold on to it while you're brushing, it's not pulling from your head, it's pulling from your hand, so it's a little less painful. And then I get in the shower and put a ton of conditioner in my hair and let it sit while I do other things like shave or whatever, and then that kind of repairs a little bit of the damage from teasing. But it's definitely a process. If you tease your hair, you guys know it's not easy to brush out. How do you protect your hair on a windy/rainy day? I live in LA, so it's not rainy here very often, but when I lived in Portland, the easiest for wind and rain is just to take a bandana, tie it over your head like a Thelma and Louise style, and then tie it around your neck and it'll cover the whole top layer of your hair. You can also do a hood over your head, or umbrellas. I carry umbrellas all the time out here. If it's rainy at all, I always have an umbrella over the top of my head. And if it's really windy outside, I just do an updo instead of doing something down, because my hair doesn't hold curl very easily in wind, so it's the easiest way to keep it all together. How do you even out uneven eyes? I actually have uneven eyes. One of my eyelids is slightly taller than the other, or more of it is exposed. So how I do it, because I wear liquid eyeliner a lot, is I just make one of my lines thicker. So then it makes the illusion that my eyes are the same size. You can do the same thing with eyeshadows. If your eyes are really far apart like mine are, if you put a little bit of dark shadow all the way inside the crease, it'll make your eyes look closer together. And if your eyes are really close together, if you do the opposite, put eyeshadow on the outsides, it'll create more space in between. And there's just little tricks that you can do like that. To make eyes bigger, you can put highlighter on the inner corner and it'll widen up your eyes. To make eyes smaller, just use more of the space. Like that's what I do with eyeshadow. Like I use eyeshadow from almost the top of my eyelids all the way down to the bottom. So I don't know, there's all kinds of different tricks that you can do, mostly with shadow to make your eyes even. Just do more on one side if your eye is, you know, whatever, balance itself out. Just play, you'll figure it out. Will hard water fade my hair? Yes, but most water will fade your hair these days because not a lot of cities use good purifying systems. So if you really want to save your color with the quality of your hair, I would get a purifier that you can just put on your shower head, and that'll filter out the bad stuff in your water and make it a little easier on your hair. But hard water, soft water, they all have chemicals in them. In LA, we have a lot of like chlorine and stuff in our water, so it fades your hair pretty quickly too. So you just kind of have to learn to work with the water you got. What is your natural hair color? Surprisingly enough, I am not a natural redhead. My hair is actually just kind of a boring mousy brown. No blonde, no red, no anything really. When I was younger it was a lot lighter, but now when my roots start to grow out, it's pretty dark, just a dark, boring brown. Can you do vintage styles with a flat iron? The short answer to that is no. You really need the roundness that a curling iron provides to do vintage styles, because most vintage styles originally were done with a wet set, and a wet set makes the curls so tight in your hair. I find that a flat iron, it just doesn't give you quite a tight enough curl. It's really great for loose curls, but it just, especially because I suggest that you don't use anything smaller than an inch barrel of a curling iron, so a flat iron is never going to give you that small tight curl that a curling iron is. If you don't have a curling iron and you want to use something different, try hot rollers or pillow rollers, something overnight, but flat irons don't work so good. So either invest in a curling iron or just try something different. Do you have to pin your hair to keep the curls in? I say for vintage styles, absolutely you do. The problem with just curling your hair and letting it sit is that when you curl your hair and you put all that heat in your hair, it's sucking the moisture out of your hair. So while it's hot, you have moisture in your hair. So if you just let that sit, the moisture in your hair is just gonna sag. So if you pin it while it's hot and you wait for the heat to cool and the moisture to dry, then it actually really sets the curl in your hair. It's almost like doing a wet set by curling it when it's really hot. So for vintage styles, absolutely you have to pin it, because otherwise, like with a flat iron, the curl's not gonna get tight enough. How long does it take you to do vintage styles? For me, I've been doing them for so long, it's pretty quick. I would say between a half hour and an hour, depending on the style. If it's just something basic with curling, it usually takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to curl my hair. And then cool down time, once my hair's cooled and brushed out, it literally takes me like 5 to 15 minutes to actually do a style. Victory rolls take me probably a half hour to 45 minutes. So it just depends on the style, but the more you do it, the more practice you get, the easier it gets, the faster you do them. So just keep practicing. There's no real set time in how long it should be taking you. If you're having a hard time and it's taking you longer, that's fine. Just be patient and you'll get it. So those are all of the questions that I have for now. I hope I answered some of you guys' questions. If you have any more, please feel free to ask me, and I will try to keep making videos for you guys. And thanks again for watching.